stare at the dark too long, and you will eventually see what isn't there. Hey spooky siblings, and welcome to Left on Red. My name is Red, and this is Scary Mondays. Today we will talk about black-eyed children.
Aw, cute! Can we please adopt one? Or 10?
Look, Polty, haunting is a full-time job. Perhaps in a couple years.
Oh, okay.
In the meantime, let's listen to story number 1. I was out in the town center in a place called Blackpool in the UK. Now this is a seaside town, and on this particular day it was quite busy. I was watching some street entertainers along with a small group of other day trippers. There were around, say, 25 people, all stood in a circle around the entertainer. I was looking at the faces of the other folk watching, the smiles and the laughter. Suddenly, I was drawn to a feeling that I was being scrutinized intensely. On realizing who was staring, I was freaked out. There were 3 seemingly young kids staring intently. Looking at their faces, they were all staring back at me. I got this awful feeling of impending doom. Something really evil was going to happen. That kind of feeling. This feeling, I presume, doesn't happen very often to most, if ever. Their eyes were all black, like out of some kind of a horror movie. I had to bail. No way could I stand there anymore. Next story. I once had an encounter with what may have been black-eyed children. I live in a small town in West Scotland. One night, maybe 5 years ago, I took my dog out for a short walk. It was around 10:30 or 11 on a cold and wet November night. At the end of my street, about 100 yards from my house, there is a little patch of grass. My dog was sniffing around, and I wasn't really paying attention, so didn't see where they came from. I remember turning and seeing 2 young boys walking in the middle of the road about 10 feet from where I was standing. I thought they were too young to be walking around at that time of the night, and I had never seen them before. All of the kids in my area played together, and I knew most of them. Both of the boys had no jackets or jumpers, wearing only a t-shirt on a freezing night in the middle of winter. This was all weird, but I would have dismissed it had the larger of the 2 boys not started speaking. "That's a nice dog," he said. His accent was definitely not Scottish. It sounded almost Scouse, Liverpool, but not quite. His speech had a weird stop-start nature and was fast and loud. The smaller one didn't say anything, but both were looking at me as they were walking past. To be honest, I can't say for sure if their eyes were all black, because it was night, but they were very dark. As soon as the boy started to speak, I felt a sense of dread. I didn't or couldn't answer him, as he asked more questions in rapid succession. I remember, "What kind of dog is that? How old is the dog?" I'm not sure why, but I felt threatened, the same way you might feel when a fight is just about to break out. All I could do was stand between them and my dog as they passed. They never stopped walking. The dread feeling had grown quickly into a terror. I couldn't understand it, and still don't. I was genuinely scared of those two boys. I was at least 18 at this point, my dog with me. There was plenty of street lighting. We were surrounded by houses on all sides, and my being only 100 yards away, but I couldn't even speak to them. There was something very unnatural about the whole situation. My instincts told me not to engage with them, and I watched them walk by and up the small hill going in the other direction from my street. Last story. One night when I was a junior or senior in high school, one of my best friends, we will call him T, and I decided to do what every other high schooler did and get stoned. Him and I were active stoners, so we were sneaking out at night and walking around his town. Now, I'm not sure that it has any connection, but the town is fairly old with a semi-bad history, as it used to be a coal mining town. Anywho, we were just taking a stroll, and I would say it's probably about midnight, and we had just passed all of the active district of the town, and we were now going down a road that led to a park, our destination, in a somewhat decent neighborhood. As him and I are approaching, we are just talking, being rowdy, and as we come under the one and only street light that didn't actually light anything up past 10 feet away, T stops. Of course, knowing him and having other dangerous stories where bad stuff had happened, this is what he does. He just starts kind of looking straight ahead of where we were walking and says, "What the heck? Do you see that?" And to be honest, I didn't see anything out of ordinary, and I hadn't heard anything either. T starts scrambling for his phone and to turn on his flashlight, and I won't forget what we saw. There were 3 kids playing on the playset directly in front of us, and when the light shined on them, they weren't moving, and you couldn't see their eyes. T said something along the lines of, "Oh Jesus, you guys scared us," but got no reply. They just sat and stared, and T and I just kind of started backing up and said goodbye. We didn't hear them leave either. It was just dead silence the entire time, and it never occurred to me until after we had gotten back to his house that it was 1 a.m. and these kids couldn't have been older than elementary school. I won't ever forget that night. So, Polty, do you still want black-eyed children as a part of our household?
Like a dozen. I mean, 2 dozen.
Well, alrighty then. In a couple of years, you will have to take care of them.
Oh, yeah. And I'll hug them and pet them and squeeze them and call them George and Georgina and Gerald and Leopold and...
And that was Scary Mondays. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, press the bell notification button to get notified every time we upload a new video. Until next time.